Hi, Greg, you okay?
Mate, you right? How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Both on lamp this time. Save any lighting
bit,
excuse.
bit of lighting, bit of lighting. Yeah,
The volume slightly up. So, episode 3.
yeah. What are we keeping the comments on, mate? Or are we?
Oh, yeah, let me wash them off. Yeah, there we go. Sorted.
Spot on, mate. Yeah, episode 3. Slightly different this week. We're not both doing a list, just you doing one, and me just probing you and asking you why why you're making those choices. So, we're going to go through today Liverpool's. Well, we're going to do it worst to best, aren't we? We're going to start with the worst and work up to best managers in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Which obviously is conveniently my lifetime as well. So everyone that you'll be talking about, I'll know. So gonna rank through them and basically give an explanation as to why. I've got a few questions on each of the managers as well. So the managers, if I'm right in saying, Gerard Houllier, Rafa Benitez, Roy Hodgson, Kenny Dalglish, Brendan Rodgers, Jurgen Klopp. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I've got a question about them as well, just to get your because we talk about football quite a lot, but we don't actually go into too much detail about our clubs, that like intricate detail about our clubs that much. We kind of sort of just sort of leave it, just kind of, we'll talk about a specific game or what have you, but we rarely get into detail about clubs. So it'll be quite interesting to get your opinion on a few bits and pieces and what have you, and sort of how the Liverpool fan base saw it at that time. And then we're going to be discussing as well each manager's best and worst signings too.
Yeah.
So obviously next week we're going to be talking about Manchester United, because I was panicking about David Moyes, because I think that initially I thought there was only 2 signings, but I've remembered that there are actually 3, so it'll be slightly easier. But yeah, I don't think you'll have those problems for any of. I think the majority of your managers. What was the shortest reign of those managers?
Shortest reign would have been Hodgson, which would have been the summer of 2010 to January 2011, so 4 months.
Oh, right, okay. So
4 or
that's
5.
like a Moyes reign, really, then, wasn't it?
Yeah, so
yeah.
In terms of a transfer window, it was only that summer of 2010
Right.
that he had. And he was sacked early, January, but obviously didn't making any signings in that window before Dalglish took over. So yeah, Hodgson would be the shortest reign.
Well, I guess being making an intuitive guess, I'm assuming that that's probably a good place to go into your list. I'm assuming that's who it's going to be, but I don't know. But shall we start with your worst Liverpool manager of your lifetime?
Yeah, there's no prizes for it. It was Roy Hodgson.
Yeah.
He just didn't understand the club. I think this is something that we spoke about quite a lot in terms of when we were doing the worst players that we'd seen, about an understanding of the club, and also the city as well. Hodgson come in at the back of Rafa Benitez's era. Now, Benitez, apart from that last season, Benitez has took us to 2 Champions League finals, and the season before Benitez was sacked, we narrowly lost out on the league to yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
There was 4 points in it.
Yeah.
But it really was a 2-horse race, the 2008-2009 season. 2010, we finished 7th under Benitez, which led to his sacking. And as a Liverpool fan, it was possibly the worst time in my lifetime to be a Liverpool fan. We obviously
that period when Hodgson was there, or when Rafa was sacked.
Just that 2000, that probably from the end of 2009 season through to the 2009-2010 season through to Hodgson being there. That was sort of the worst time to be a Liverpool fan. The owners, obviously Hicks and Gillette, there was a lot of protests
Yeah.
And it was just a strange appointment. It was possibly the biggest appointment of his life. He'd done well with Fulham the season before, if I remember correctly. I think Fulham had got to the Europa Cup final.
Yeah, was that when they were doing quite well in Europe? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the season before. So he come in, but it was just one of that. In terms of when he come in, everyone sort of thought, why are we bringing him in? But obviously, you're going to give him time. And then the season started. Now, the transfer window, I think I'm not sure if we spoke about this online or offline a couple of weeks ago. I remember watching a pre-season friendly when we just started under Hodgson, and it was around about the time of Joe Cole had just signed. Milan Jovanovic, Benitez has already agreed that signing. And I remember watching a pre-season friendly early August or late July and thinking, do you know what? We look good this year. We look really good. This might not actually be that bad under Hodgson. We'll give him time. We'll get behind him. And then the season started. And I remember, I think Arsenal at home was our first game of the season. And Joe Cole got sent off in that on his debut. And the results just weren't coming in at all for Hodgson early on in the season. And it was just one of them. There was still protests going on. The club was just about to be on the brink of administration. There was still protests going on against the owners. And he was coming out and just saying all the wrong things in terms of, well, like Liverpool would have a bad result, and he'd say, well, what's going on in the stands isn't helping us.
Right.
And blaming the fans rather than taking responsibility. So that was the start of him disconnecting away with the fans. The Derby result, getting beat 3-0 at Goodison Park, and he come out and said that was our best performance of the season. Which
that's a Moyes-esque comment. That
yeah. I think like to contrast that to when like Ferguson for yourselves, the 6-1. I think Ferguson said that was the worst day of his life.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me of that as well. That's great.
Yeah, to just get that in.
Yeah, this is going to be about Liverpool.
Yeah, and then there was just some strange stories in his first. I think I might have told you this a couple of weeks ago. In his first ever press conference for Liverpool, he's sitting there. He's being asked all these questions, and okay, Roy, who was your managerial heroes? Who did you look up to? Who did you take inspiration from? And he's sitting there in a room which has got portraits of Bill Shankly and Bob Paisley, and he went with Don Howe and Dave Sexton, and it was just one of them. And I remember reading an article by a local writer, Simon Hughes. He writes for The Independent. Sometimes he's freelance. I think he now works for The Athletic. And I remember reading a specific thing, and it was about after Hodgson's first win, I think it was, that he was in a Liverpool city centre restaurant, and Liverpool is quite a close city, and if there is a football in a restaurant, they will be left alone, but also by the time they've finished the meal with the family, there will be people who want a picture with them, no doubt at all. And it was saying he was in this Liverpool restaurant. He was still wearing his club tie, his club suit, and he said he could have just been anyone in there. Nobody was interested.
Really? Right.
And Simon Hughes has written this in terms of not a story that he said. He was in the restaurant as well.
Right.
And he said it got to the point where Hodgson finished his meal. He stood up at the table and started playing with his keys in his pocket to make noise. And he wasn't sure whether he was just trying to get people's attention. But he ended up walking out with his wife still jangling his keys. And he said nobody stopped. No one was interested. And that's just how far we felt disconnected away from him.
Yeah.
So obviously October came round, which then was the end of the Hicks and Gillette era. FSG had come in. So it was obviously, there was a lot to sort out in the club so far. But as soon as FSG come in, it was sort of the bullet had already been fired.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. It was just a matter of time before it hit Hodgson, and he was gone. The writing was on the wall. Fans were starting to sing Dalglish at the games. Dalglish, I think, had then been brought on board by FSG in terms to be in the boardroom and as an advisor. So it was only a matter of time before Dalglish was then appointed. And I think that there were Blackpool doing the double over us, but Blackburn early January. We got beat 3-1. Gerrard scored, but Gerrard also had a penalty with about 10 minutes to go in the game, which he blasted over the bar. And to this day, nobody can tell me that Gerrard didn't miss that penalty. And I've read Gerrard's books, and he said like Hodgson was a good manager to work for. He was great on the training pitch, and he said it was just unfortunate that it didn't work out, and he's one of his favourite managers that he's worked under. But he missed that penalty on purpose against Blackburn away, and that was then the end of Hodgson's short tenure.
Yeah. So I get you probably answered my question in amongst all that. But if you were to pinpoint if there's one primary thing that he did wrong, which you know, the sort of the fundamental mistake of his short spell, what would you say it was?
The comments after the derby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was that, and also he got asked, because how badly we started. I think we were down about 17th. We weren't in the relegation zone. I think we were one place above it. And he got asked, could Liverpool go down this season? He come out and went, yeah, they're not too big to go down. And yeah. It felt like whenever he was in a press conference, you would listen to an opposition manager talk about Liverpool, rather than this is a Liverpool manager.
Yeah.
He was just totally disconnected from the club and the city and the fans.
Yeah. Okay, so best and worst signing?
Worst signing, couldn't get him in at my worst 11 the other day, but it's got to be Paul Konchesky.
Mate, you hate Paul Konchesky.
Oh, he was terrible. He was just absolutely awful. He really was. It was just like, obviously being with Hodgson at Fulham before, and he come in. He was terrible. He was awful. I could have given it to Christian Poulsen or there's any of Hodgson's signs could have really got it, but Konchesky was the worst. And I think it was one of the things that Dalglish done first. I think as soon as he come in, within a week, Konchesky was gone and he was loaned out. I think it was to Notts Forest, and we ended up selling him at the end of the season. But yeah, Konchesky's possibly the worst left back I've ever seen play for Liverpool. Best signing, I thought this was going to be quite hard until I look back on it. And there was only really one good signing that he made, which was Raul Meireles.
Okay, yeah.
I think Raul Meireles is sort of a forgotten man how good he was at Liverpool. I think it was the following season I think he got PFA. He was in the PFA team of the year.
Oh, was he? Right, okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's the following season. He was brilliant. He scored some really good goals for us. I think he must have been at the club 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been in the PFA team of the year that season. Then he might have turned it around. But yeah, it was just in terms of the circumstances that he left in. It was a deadline day move in January to Chelsea, or it might have
Yeah.
been in the summer to Chelsea. But it was just one of them. He left in the same circumstances that Torres did.
It's interesting actually, because I was actually watching today, because Sky Sports have got the full matches of some of the classic matches from over the years, and I was watching Chelsea United from, I think, 2012, when Chelsea were 3-up and United came back and drew 3-all, and Torres was in the Chelsea team and Morelos was there as well, and I'd actually completely forgotten that he went to Chelsea. But watching it back, he was a player. He was a decent player. He played quite well in there.
Yeah, he was very talented. I'm just having a check there. He was only actually with us a year.
Right.
And I think in that year he was in the PFA team of the year, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he was talented. He scored some really good goals.
Yeah.
For us, I think one that sticks out was at Hull. I think he put a free kick into the wall, and as it come back, he volleyed it.
Right.
Back from about 30 yards. Yeah, he was a talented footballer, and I suppose when you're competing against the likes of Joe Cole for Liverpool, Christian Poulsen, and Konchesky, then yeah, he would be Hodgson's best signing.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So that's the worst. So how many have got? Is there six managers? So who is fifth?
Fifth. It seems pretty bad putting him fifth. I wouldn't call him second worst, but in terms of what I've seen in my lifetime, unfortunately, obviously Liverpool legend, but it'd have to be Dalglish.
Okay.
I noticed you by smile as I said that.
I knew what was coming when you started the intro to it, and I was thinking there's going to be some Liverpool fans furious with you.
I think as you go through them, and I think if anyone listed them themselves who's of a similar age to myself, then it'd be hard. I think people probably might have went Rodgers, but in terms of what I've seen,
yeah.
Dalglish, 18 months at the club, came in obviously off the back of Hodgson, and then in that next season, took us to 2 cup finals. It was just as I mentioned before, Dalglish sort of came in to steady the ship after Hodgson.
Yeah.
Where Hodgson was sort of a steady the ship manager in terms of what the season before under Benitez, that was always the tagline that was given to Hodgson. He's here to steady the ship, but Dalglish really sort of came in and saved us that season, and then next season we progressed under him. Made a couple of big money signings in the summer, but it was just one of them with Dalglish. And in terms of in the league the next year, league performances weren't the best. But also it was just because it was just a short tenure, but it was always going to be, because FSG themselves were just finding sort of their feet in terms of football management and what their long-term view for the club was. And I think come the end of the season, it was never a surprise when Dalglish was sacked. I think it happened within a week of the season finishing, or week of the FA Cup final. It was never a surprise that Dalglish was sacked. Obviously, we won the League Cup, got beat by Chelsea in the FA Cup final. But it was just one of the days. He was there when we needed him. But I couldn't rank him any higher in terms of other managers I've seen and what I've done. So I wouldn't necessarily use the second worst. But other managers I feel like have contributed more to what I've seen.
Oh, that's fair. So I guess then with Kenny Dalglish, obviously being a United fan, there's obviously one particular period of time when Dalglish was there that United fans remember Dalglish being there, and I don't want to open up that whole debate too much in terms of what went on with Suarez and Evra. But what I was interested actually, because again, this is something that we've never actually discussed, is what was the Liverpool fan base's perception of what was going on now, but also at the time, in terms of when Dalglish was sort of, quite passionately defending Suarez, and then there was the game at Old Trafford where then Suarez refused to shake Evra's hand, and Dalglish continued to defend him for that. Obviously, seen recently, Carragher's apologised to Evra on Monday Night Football for the way that Liverpool Football Club handled it, but I guess it's just, and it's not to sort of pin you down and be like, oh well, did you agree with it, etc. But it's just really to get the vibe of how did Liverpool fans feel that was being dealt with at the time, and then equally how, looking back on it now, how do you sort of view it?
So, in terms of at the time, if your son goes to school and does something, and he comes home and he tells you, I didn't do that, you defend him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it was, I think, between Dalglish and Suarez. Suarez come out and he said, look, I didn't do this. It's been a miscommunication of what's happened, and Dalglish has backed him. And because of that, he's going to get the backing of the fans. And it literally, at the time, it felt like a little bit of a he said, she said. So, you still with me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. It felt like sort of a little bit of a he said, she said, where you were just defending the player without actually looking at what's going on. And in terms of obviously the translation of what had happened and what had been publicised in the media, looking back, probably the T-shirts at Wigan weren't probably the best idea.
Yeah.
And I think for everything that the club had gone through, it was just a little bit probably unnecessary for Dalglish to certainly come out and do an interview before the Wigan game in that T-shirt. I certainly think if people had the time again on that, it'd be handled a lot differently.
Yeah.
To the way it was.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because I like I say, I mean, and I guess that kind of gives you a perspective from United fans' point of view, that you're talking about the cup wins with Dalglish. I don't actually remember. Now you've said it, I remember it, but I wouldn't have sat here at the start of the conversation without you saying it and thinking, oh yeah, Dalglish won trophies at Liverpool. That's my lasting memory, is in the tunnel with the T-shirt on and thinking, what are you doing? You know, and I agree with you, because I do remember at the start when it all started, there was a lot of, well, this is what he's saying he said, and that's what he's saying he said, sort of thing. But when they came out with the T-shirts, you're just sort of thinking, what on earth are they doing here? Because if he was, which he was, then obviously found guilty for doing what he'd done, you're then left with that image of the club defending him. It just seemed a crazy PR move on behalf of the club.
Yeah, I think it was one of them, rather than the club could have went down the route of, look, in terms of what Suarez was trying to say was, look, it's a miscommunication of what's happened, but it seemed to just go, and I think if this would have happened against any other team but United, it wouldn't have been played out the same way. It was like Liverpool were trying to vilify Evra.
Yeah, that's how it came across. That is how it came across. I think that
the T-shirts sort of went with that as well.
Yeah.
I love Luis Suarez. My son's named after him.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the most proudest moments sometimes in a red shirt, and that whole couple of months, and certainly the ban afterwards, it just sort of left a little bit of a sour taste in the mouth from, I think, everyone's perspective. I don't think nobody, no matter who you support, wants to see, if that does happen in the game, what the way it played out afterwards happened. It could have been handled a lot better.
I must say, I had massive amounts of respect for Jamie Carragher for saying what he said. I don't know if you saw that exchange, but what he said to Patrice Evra on Monday Night Football, I thought it was done really, really well. And yeah, you could argue, well, it's a few years too late, and yeah, it probably is. But at the same time, he didn't have to do it, and the fact that he did, I thought, well, you know what, fair play to him for doing it. And I thought Evra handled the situation really quite well on the show as well, because obviously that match at Old Trafford was just mental. The first match after it happened at Anfield, it was just crazy. I remember, I don't know if you recall it, but after Suarez had refused to shake Evra's hand, literally the first knock into the game, Rio Ferdinand went in to completely wipe out Suarez, but wiped out Evra. Yeah, it was just unbelievable. That game was nuts. That game was absolutely nuts. But yeah, okay, cool. Sorry, best and worst signing for Kenny Dalglish.
Best signing, Jordan Henderson.
Ooh, did he? Because he signed Suarez, didn't he?
He did, but I think it had already been done.
Right. Okay.
Because Suarez was coming in on the understanding, I think it was Damien Comolli, that he was going to play with Torres, and Torres left the day before we signed Suarez.
Right. Okay.
So best signing would be Jordan Henderson.
Okay.
Worst, Charlie Adam.
You get on quite well with his dad, don't you, Adam?
Yeah, we were good friends.
Okay, shall we just what time are we on? How are we doing?
Half an hour, so 4 to get through.
4 to get through in half an hour. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so who is fourth?
Fourth, probably what people would have had in terms of fifth, Brendan Rodgers.
Okay, that's interesting actually. So I guess for this one, I might actually ask that, because that's probably provoked a question for it. From the outside looking in, that's possibly one of the best before obviously this current crop is one of the best Liverpool sides that you've had in my lifetime, and also your lifetime. So why is the perception of him so poor?
I think it was just the way it ended.
Right.
I don't. Well, I've just when you've just asked me that question there, I was thinking there's two different Brendan Rodgerses, if you like.
Yeah.
There's a Brendan Rodgers in 2013, 2014, and that team that we had there, and then there was the Brendan Rodgers 2014 season to 2015, which possibly could be one of the worst managers that we've had.
That sort of post Suarez, era, yeah.
From what happened after Suarez, now there's been people say Luis Suarez is possibly the best Liverpool manager that we've ever had, because he was making them players on the pitch play unbelievably well. That he was making players around him even better. It's a bit of a weird one, Brendan Rodgers, because in terms of how we've actually went in a bit of a chronological order for a few years in terms of where the club was at. So Hodgson, Dalglish, and then next in was Rodgers. So Rodgers was FSG's first manager. Now, he came in with a philosophy and a style. He had a little bit of a silver spoon in his mouth in his first couple of press conferences, opposed to Hodgson. He said all the right things. It felt like he passionately understood the club, he understood the fans, and his way with words was absolutely brilliant. And then he slowly started to build a football club that was getting Liverpool back to where we want Liverpool to be. 2013, 2014 was literally one of the best seasons I've had being a Liverpool fan. It was unbelievable. We were brilliant. Sterling, Sturridge, Suarez, them three up front. We were fantastic that year.
I remember being genuinely petrified that you were going to win the league that year. Like, I genuinely believed it was going to happen. Like really, really thought that I couldn't. And actually, it was interesting because around that time, I was actually around Liverpool quite a lot, and so I was picking up on the atmosphere, obviously within the city and stuff, and it just had all the makings of it. I
think because we were involved in that much of a title race in terms of the atmosphere in the city, it was actually better then than what it was this season. Whilst we had football and last season as well, there was just a buzz around town. I was getting to town then. I wasn't a dad of two, so I was out of a night Friday and Saturday night quite a lot, like after Liverpool games, and there was just a buzz around the city. Like one of the old songs would come back, "We are Liverpool, cha la la."
Yeah,
you could walk round town of a night and hear that song coming from different places. And I certainly, after Christmas through the January, February, when it was like that title race was really hotting up, there was just such a buzz and such an atmosphere around the city.
Do you think it was the shock factor in the sense that, because I don't recall going into that season thinking Liverpool might win the league here. It sort of their title challenge sort of developed as the season went on, whereas obviously now you're starting the season expecting to be up at the top.
Yeah, it was in a way, and we just seemed to just gain results. And if you have a look at the amount of points that we finished on that season, and what City finished on as well compared to last season, there was a couple of hurdles along the way. I think, if I remember correctly, I think it was West Brom. We drew 1-1 at West Brom. I think Kolo Toure passed it across and Ichibi scored for them to equalise. I think we were beat at Hull in December,
right?
Which was a really bad result for us, and just stuff like that. If that would have went our way, we would have been champions. But yeah, in terms that season, the football that we were playing as well, the tiki-taka football, was brilliant under Rodgers, and then it all sort of came to a crash after not winning the league, and then obviously compounded with what happened in the World Cup with Suarez, which was sort of, I think that was more of, I think, looking at the World Cup and Suarez biting again, I think it was a sort of way out of Liverpool. One thing I think that Carragher might have mentioned a couple of weeks ago, was the season before Suarez bit Jovanovic. Yeah. And Suarez was out of, I think he must have been banned for the first 8 games of the
8 games rings a bell, yeah.
Yeah, he was banned for the first 8 games of that season, the 2013-2014 season. The amount of goals that he scored was ridiculous considering how long he was banned for, but we got beat by Southampton at home in September. I think Dejan Lovren scored for Southampton. And just even that, if that result would have went the other way, we could have won the league that year.
Because I think that's the thing. Obviously, the moment that everyone goes back to is Gerrard. But yeah, when you sit and you look at the other stupid results that you had over the course of the season, it could have quite easily gone the other way.
I think for me, I always remember Jordan Henderson getting sent off last minute of the game versus Man City.
Yeah,
that was the game. Jordan Henderson was suspended for Chelsea.
Yeah, right enough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Gerrard had been playing a little bit further forward, so he would have never been in the position to receive that pass. That would have been Henderson receiving that pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was the turning point, was Jordan Henderson getting sent off against Man City. Obviously, we went away to Norwich, beat Norwich, but it was a straight red, so it was a 3-game ban. Yeah. So obviously, this Chelsea game was the second game that he missed, and the Palace game the third.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So best and worst signing?
Best and worst signing. I think. Let me just pull these back up because I'm just having a look at when Rodgers made these signings. So for the best, I was sort of torn between 2. But I'm going to go with James Milner as Rodgers' best signing.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it was just a piece of brilliance. I think we spoke about this the other day as well. It was just a clever signing. In terms of James Milner, I don't understand why Man City fans were sort of annoyed that he's leaving. And
I never really got that either, to be honest.
It's a real strange one, because at Man City at the time were then starting to make the big multi-million-pound signing after multi-million-pound signing. So what did they actually want James Milner to be? Where James Milner came into a Liverpool side that was growing, he was always going to get more minutes. Now, I think James Milner is now at a stage where he was at for Man City, where he's sort of a fringe player. But if James Milner would have got off in the summer, or if gets off this summer and maybe goes back to Leeds, I'd never boo him. He's won the Champions League with us. Hopefully he'll win the league this year. So he won leagues at Man City, and it's just a strange one. But I think from a signing perspective, I think it was brilliant to bring him in. And the other one that I was slightly torn for was Joe Gomez, £6 million. Athletic. I think he's going to. I think he's at least a £50-60 million defender. So he's probably just the profit that would make on him is ridiculous, and he's 22, Champions League winner. So I think that was a really good piece of business to bring him in. Worst signings, and we probably didn't touch enough about that last season under Rodgers, because I could have just named anyone whatever we spent the Suarez money on could have been the worst signing. There was a few that I looked at for Rodgers' worst signing, but it was someone that you mentioned the other day, Lazar Markovic. I think just for the price tag, 17.5 million, it just didn't work out. Stuck him on big wages, got 50 grand a week. Now, not big wages for a footballer, but certainly then the wage market hadn't skyrocketed. Just a piece of business that didn't work. There was others that I could have named, obviously Balotelli. But in terms of that last season under Rodgers, as I said before, it was just two completely different seasons. And I think that losing the league that year, that affected Rodgers into that next season.
I think so. I think sort of outside looking in as well, I kind of felt like he obviously got a lot of money off the back of the Suarez sale, and it was like he didn't know what to do with it. And equally, and I think we touched on this on the last episode when we were talking about the worst signings. It was he almost felt like I have to spend all the money, and I need to try and find a player that will, and maybe that's what he was doing with Markovic, that can potentially become as good as Suarez. Whereas actually, if he'd looked at it, he already had the basis of a really, really good team. He just needed to add one or two more additions in there, and try, which is obviously, and I think I alluded to when we sold Cristiano Ronaldo, and we signed really sort of Antonio Valencia as the direct replacement in terms of that he would play in Ronaldo's position on the pitch. But the idea then was, let's build a team around Wayne Rooney, and then Wayne Rooney thrived off the back of that. You know, I think that's where he failed.
Yeah, he did, and I think he lost the dressing room and he lost the fans in the end. Rodgers, I think he became a little bit of a hate figure in amongst the support,
which is really sad, isn't it? When you think about what he's done.
It was sad compared to where we've been in 2013, 2014. I remember the night Rodgers got sacked, and there was a party on.
Was that the night that Henry touched Carragher's leg? Was it that announcement?
It was just after the Merseyside derby. We drew 0-0 at Everton,
right?
And I was in a pub up in North Liverpool, and it got announced Rodgers had been sacked, and it was something that we were waiting for, and it was just like one of them to the bars shots. I think I ended up doing like a set. It wasn't even karaoke. I think I'd done a live gig. With my mate Joe, we just didn't go off. Literally, we came back home for an encore. I think we'd done like an hour just back to back on karaoke. It was literally.
Hope they paid you for it.
Well, I don't know.
I hope.
It was quite sad how it ended, but it was the right thing to do. Go. He had to go. The start of that his last season, then from August through to October,
Yeah.
It was just a nightmare.
Cool. Okay, top three then. Third.
Houllier.
Okay.
Gerard Houllier. So he was the Liverpool manager as I first got memories of growing up. I slightly remember the last season where he was joint manager with Roy Evans. But I haven't put Roy Evans in because I can't remember enough of his time. Yeah. So Gerard Houllier. There was some absolutely brilliant days, or years rather. 2001, we were fantastic. Won five trophies in a calendar year under Houllier. Houllier, he brought in a bit more. It was like sort of a bit more of a style and a bit more of a philosophy rather than the English 4-4-2. And I think that was obviously a French manager off the back of how well Arsenal were doing under Wenger. I know that was around about the time of Arsenal's Invincibles, was that Houllier era. But yeah, he brought us back trophies to Anfield after what had been a tough time for Liverpool in the 90s, certainly early 90s, not so much the middle then under the Evans, but he's well thought of in Liverpool, Gerard Houllier.
Yeah.
Obviously, they never set the world alight. There's not a Premier League title there. There's not a European Cup. There's a UEFA Cup.
Yeah.
But yeah, he brought some great players in and give us some really good memories, and he's thought very highly.
Yeah. So what I was going to ask you about Gerard Houllier is actually I read an article, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and Dietmar Hamann was talking about Liverpool, and he said that he felt that the team that won I know you mentioned 5 trophies in a calendar year, but the team that won the treble over the course of a season, he ranks higher than the team that Rafa had that won the Champions League in Istanbul. Would you think that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, possibly. That team that won the treble in 2001 was brilliant, and it's always sort of, I think the initial reaction to the team that won in Istanbul was, could this be the worst team that's ever won the European Cup?
Yeah, because it felt like, I don't look back at that team in Istanbul as a great team. I just feel like it was a team that had an unbelievable performance on that one night.
Yeah, but also we did deserve to be in that final. I know we were 10 minutes away from getting knocked out in the group stage, but then
that was the Gerrard screamer, wasn't it?
Yeah,
against Olympiacos. Yeah.
Then through into the actual knockout stages. Now, I remember correctly, Bayer Leverkusen, Juve. Someone will be ripping me for this. I've got that wrong, and then obviously Chelsea in the semi-final. But yeah, we did deserve to be there. But you could possibly go along with for what Hamann said there, because Hamann obviously was brilliant. You had Gerrard coming through, Michael Owen, Gary McAllister. We had some good players, and it was a good time to be a Liverpool fan. It was sort of a couple of my earliest memories of football. We spoke about this the other week. Was 1998. So then, if you push another 3 years onto that, so when I can really remember, I remember going to Cardiff. The cup final against United really sticks out. I think it was the first.
We were shocking that day. We were so bad that day. It was unbelievable.
I think it was the first time my dad let me swear. And he said, you're allowed to swear on the way home. So a coach journey 6 hours from Cardiff. I was swearing my head off, and he said, I was 9 at the time, and he said, as soon as we step back off Liverpool, off the coach, you're not allowed to swear anymore. So I think as I was getting off the bus, I was going, fuck off. So yeah, I've got some really good memories with Houllier being manager.
Yeah, okay. Best and worst signings?
Best signing, Sami Hyypiä.
Okay, yeah.
Now, we haven't mentioned Van Dijk in my best Liverpool team, Sami Hyypiä would certainly be alongside Carragher. But might probably a better defender than Jamie Carragher. He was brilliant for us, Hyypiä. He really, really was. He should be regarded as a Liverpool legend. At the club, hell of a long time, and a great player. And I'm glad that he's won something with us that'll keep his name being mentioned in terms of
Yeah.
his Champions League winner. He was brilliant, Sammy. Yeah.
Okay, and what's
worst? Someone we mentioned the other day, it's got to be Juve.
Oh yeah, right enough. Yeah, that would have been Julia. Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think we need to talk anymore about El Hadji Diouf. Okay, so I think I know what order this is going to come in, but second place,
Rafa.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Rafa was brilliant. He brought real excitement back to Liverpool, and we just spoke about it there. Under Rafa's leadership in the first season to get us to a Champions League final and then to win it sort of out of nowhere as well in terms of I don't think it was beyond Liverpool fans' wildest dreams that we could have won the Champions League that year.
Yeah.
It was just certainly the excitement that he brought as soon as he was manager, and then first couple of signings, Luis Garcia, Xabi Alonso, that style of play that he brought to us, an attractive style of football up top, but then he was quite defensive minded as well. So we did have some real flair players. But then he shored us up as well. So I think he's gone on to be a little bit more of a defensive manager, certainly now, and what he's thought of than what he was initially at.
Yeah.
When he actually came into Liverpool. So he come in obviously winning 2 La Ligas with Valencia,
which is unheard of, really. A team outside of Madrid or Barca winning it.
Yeah, exactly. So it was quite a bit of excitement, and then obviously that led to title challenges in 2009. I think what's really sad as part of Rafa's reign as Liverpool manager was what was going on with the owners.
Yeah.
Because I think that ultimately cost him his job. There was unrest on the pitch, unrest in the stands, unrest in the dressing room and the boardroom. So I think that probably did cut Rafa's time short. Again, it was one of them, I think, in terms of how we performed in that 09-10 season. It was, as I said before, with Dalglish, it wasn't a surprise when Rafa was sacked.
Yeah.
But there was certainly no people calling for Rafa out like there was Hodgson out. We get a great man and a complete contrast before to Hodgson in terms of understanding the city. He still lives over in the Wirral with his wife. They've never moved away from Liverpool.
Rafa does he? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So I know he's managing in China, but they've never sold the home.
Right.
He said Liverpool is now his home. Arguably, if I haven't seen what I've seen over the last 4 years, he would be the best Liverpool manager in my lifetime.
The thing I remember about Rafa is he was the first manager I can ever remember that whenever you scored, he would never celebrate. And I remember listening to him, and he was talking about it, and that he saw that as the perfect time to readjust tactics. Like, so, he would always come down and he would be doing all that with the fingers, and he would be, getting all the hand maneuvers and stuff, and he would be getting his messages across as the team celebrated that this is now what I want you to do. It was just a different way of thinking, I suppose.
Yeah, and he always, like, I know, like, whenever I think of Rodgers, I think of like a tiny little notepad, but Rafa always seemed to have a notepad, and he brought in a really tactical style of play to Liverpool. In terms of just talking about towards the end of his reign, there was just a couple of strange decisions, a couple of strange substitutions. I think there's a bit of famous footage of, I think, I can't remember who we were playing, but we were getting beat at the time, and we were 2-1 down, and he hooked Torres.
Right.
And the camera, like, as Torres is walking off, he walks past Gerrard, and Gerrard's standing there like that. Like, what are you doing?
Actually, I remember this. I actually think I have seen, because Gerrard's sort of looking across, and is his hand not on his head or something?
Yeah, he turns around and he just goes like, he just goes like that. It was also, there was quite a strange thing with Rafa in terms of him talking negatively. I don't think he wanted players to score hat-tricks and he done it to Torres quite a lot. If Torres got the 2 goals, he'd hook him.
Okay.
And I don't know if that was sort of a mentality thing about keeping players hungry or not having players get the individual acclaim at the end of a game, but it just a strange thing that he sort of did. But yeah, we had some great days under Rafa. Absolutely loved, idolised in the city. He's real close in the city, obviously, for the money that he's donated to the Hillsborough Family Support Group, the support that he's given then. He'll always be thought of very, very highly.
Yeah. So before we move on to the to number one, the question I wanted to ask about Rafa, I won't dwell on it too long, but obviously one of the, other than winning the trophies and stuff, one of the outstanding sort of memories of Benitez from a Man United perspective was the year that you pushed a team that Sir Alex said was possibly the best team that he ever had, right to the wire with the league. But obviously that year was the whole thing where Fergie sort of started playing his mind games. Rafa came out and did the whole rant about facts and all the rest of it. When he was and obviously then there was a capitulation pretty much directly after that, and the team fell apart. When he did it at the time, did you as a fan base sort of look at it and think, "Oh, he's gone here. He's lost it"?
I remember thinking about it as he's sticking one to Fergie,
right?
Because at that time there was a lot of ex-Manchester United players as managers in the league.
Yeah.
And it was sort of, everyone sort of tiptoed round Ferguson. And even the managers who hadn't played for United, there was sort of just sort of, we don't upset Alex Ferguson, don't upset the apple cart. And it was it felt like it stood up to Ferguson, but also stood up to other managers in the league and said, we can't have a go back. Obviously, the results then never went.
Well, I think that's the thing, because Sir Alex said in his book when he was talking about it, and he said the minute that he saw Benitez do that press conference, he said, "I don't need to say anything else now. He's gone. I know mentally he's gone. He's lost the plot."
Yeah, I think it was because Benitez was such a calm character, and he was quite out of character for him to come out and do something like that. And I think it was a sign that that Ferguson had potentially got underneath his skin. But at the time, it felt like, from a fan perspective, a bit of a little bit of a rallying call. Like, come on, it was mid-January that he done it. It felt like it could be almost like a rallying call, but obviously it didn't go that way in terms of the straight afterwards. Our form did dip, and then we got it back towards April time, and obviously there was the Benayoun and then the Makeda incident, which sort of
great days those.
I'm gonna get it in before you do.
I was going to do the Martin Tyler impression, but I won't do it now. Okay, right. Wary of time. So,
best and worst.
Yeah, best and worst. Yeah. So, did you? Yeah. Go. Yeah, best and worst.
Torres.
Yeah.
Is the best signing. Aquilani is the worst.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think you'll get many complaints on that. So, current manager number one.
Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I've mentioned is about bringing a style to Liverpool. As a Liverpool fan growing up, hearing about how good we've been in recent years, it wasn't obviously the easiest growing up in terms of, to knowing you support a great club without actually ever seeing us win leagues. Jurgen Klopp, I can confidently say I go to Anfield and watch the best team in the world. Whether that's other people believe that or they don't believe it, I know you'll have faces.
No, I'm not saying anything.
I've been at Anfield, watch us beat teams, and think that is worth every single penny of what I
which is rare in football these days, to be fair.
Yeah, and to come away sometimes battering teams, and not only that, Klopp's style has changed as well. He sort of grew and he's adapted. There was the year where we were smacking teams 6-7-0. nil, and then I think from that, then we came the next season. We were a little bit more defensive, because we could smack a team 6-7-0 one week, but then the next week we concede a late goal.
Yeah.
And we would draw.
I suppose you were almost I mean, you were better than them, but you were almost a little bit like what Arsene Wenger's Arsenal teams turned into. You know, where it was sort of it would you know they would be unbelievable going forward, but they never knew when to stop, and they would end up conceding, and they would throw points away.
That was it. So he has made us a little bit more defensive as well over the past 2 seasons, which has then resulted in, obviously, if the league carries on this year, will result in the league title. And last year took us to a point where finish it on 97 points, which would win a league any other season. As soon as Klopp came in, it was just that style of football that he brought in. Obviously, it took him a while. These things don't happen overnight, but it was just the improvements that you're seeing straight away. I was at Klopp's first game away at Tottenham, and there was just a lot of excitement and belief. He's brought belief. That's what he said. I'm going to make doubters into believers, and as a Liverpool fan, at the start of a season, now I believe we'll win a trophy at the end of it.
Yeah. So I guess the fact that he's number one isn't a surprise, and all the things that you're saying are true. I guess the question that I wanted to ask you about Klopp, because obviously we're at time, but the question I wanted to ask you about Klopp is, obviously there was a period of mediocrity when he initially came in, and I always remember, which I know became an infamous photo of celebrating in front of the Copa 2-2 draw against West Brom, you know, and all of that. Was there ever a point, and I suppose you can be honest now because obviously it's worked out fantastically well, but was there ever a point where you thought, not sure he's going to be the man to do this, or have you genuinely always felt 100% he's the man for the job?
There's people who have said, what's he doing, or he's made strange decisions or stuff like that, and I'd be lying if I said I've never questioned any manager of what they're doing. There was sometimes under Klopp there was quite strange substitutions. That just literally you thought, I don't understand that, or the substitutions have went the wrong way where it's changed the game negatively. But I never questioned any manager, but I've never ever wanted Klopp to be sacked. I've always sort of seen that the early days under Klopp, obviously the West Brom incident, I think there's obviously that famous photo of Sky Sports, Liverpool 2, West Brom 2. Now, before that, a month before that, we'd been beat at home by Crystal Palace.
Right.
And it was either 2-0 or 2-1. And Klopp come out in his press conference and said, I don't understand why supporters have left this game early. In Germany, you don't leave early. You stay to the end because you don't know what's going to happen. And I think that West Brom thing of Origi, I think it was Divock Origi who scored in the last minute to get the 2-2 draw, was sort of a saying, well, this is what we can do. This is what you would have missed out on.
This is what happens if you stay, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, there was strange decisions as there's been with any manager, but in terms of I've always felt like naturally season on season under Klopp we've progressed. We've never went backwards.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Okay, so best and worst signing?
Sadio Mane is the best signing. There could have been a few that could have went for under Klopp. Sadio Mane is the best signing. I think he's bought what could be perceived as an average player in the league or a good player, and he's one of the world's best now. Karius is the worst.
No prizes for guessing why.
No.
Cool. Okay, well, I think we finished pretty much bang on time there, mate.
We have well for time.
No, it was good to catch up as always, and we'll do Manchester United next.
I look forward to it.
Guess who's going to be bottom?
Mourinho.
Right, I'll speak to you soon, mate.
Yeah, speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Ta.